Christian Yelich was the National League MVP in 2018, and then in 2019 he followed up his MVP campaign by having an even better season, where he was a MVP candidate and fell short to Cody Bellinger. Yelich at the plate showed a unique skill set where he could hit for power, high average, and have great plate discipline. This all changed rapidly out of nowhere in 2020 when, during the pandemic-shortened MLB season, Yelich's numbers dropped in every single category. Yelich followed up his underperforming 2020 season with an equally bad 2021 season. The only difference in 2021 was that his struggles were for the full season. By the end of the season, the former MVP was a liability for the Brewers, and many fans wanted him benched during their playoff run. This brings up the question to everyone: what happened to Christian Yelich? And how does someone go from being one of the elite hitters in the MLB to one of the worst hitters in just a few seasons? Reading through sources online, many people will want to say that it was Yelich's fractured kneecap in 2019 that affected his performance, or maybe it was coming off of the pandemic. Although, after doing extensive analytical research, I believe that Christian Yelich's struggles are due to his change in swing and now a reduced launch angle. Now, first, it is important to define launch angle. The metric of launch angle is defined as the vertical angle that a ball leaves a player's bat. Every single ball that is hit has a launch angle. If the ball is hit straight up in the air, then it will have a high launch angle. If the ball is hit down into the ground, then it will have a negative launch angle. The best approach for a hitter is to try and get a launch angle in the middle to produce line drives and keep their bat through the zone for the longest time possible. When a batter hits line drives, they have a higher chance to get on base. Below are some contact results and how they translate to success for all hitters in the MLB. First off, we have medium hit line drives, which has a batting average of 719. Then for soft hit line drives, it has a batting average of 664. Hard hit line drives is 632 batting average. Hard hit ground balls is a 445 batting average. Hard hit fly balls is a 235 batting average. Medium hit ground balls is a 172 batting average. And then soft hit ground balls, 125. Soft hit fly balls, 0.078. And then medium hit fly balls, 0.65. From the statistics, it is clear that MLB hitters have the most success when they hit line drives. Now, what launch angle produces the most line drives? In a YouTube video from Simple Sabermetrics, they looked at the data for launch angles and determined which launch angles produce the highest average WOBA. Now, if you aren't familiar with average WOBA, that is the average weighted on-base percentage. This is a statistic that is used to measure a player's offensive value by setting weights to each result on offense. Each outcome has different weights. For example, a home run is more valuable than a walk in this metric. For reference, in 2021, Bryce Harper led the MLB with an average WOBA of .431, and the league average was .314. Now let's look at a graph from that YouTube video that shows the correlation between average WOBA and launch angles. In this graph, you can see that the y-axis, or the numbers on the left side, represent average WOBA from the intervals of 0 to 1, and then the x-axis shows launch angles from -100 to 100. In this graph, it represents that all line drives are from 10 to 25 degrees. Anything above that is a fly ball. Anything below that is a ground ball. And also in this graph, you can see that the circled region at the top of it are the highest average WOBA scores. They all fall within the line drive launch angle. As you can see though, to the right, it starts to decline. Once you hit fly balls, average WOBA goes down. And on the left, once you start to hit ground balls, the average WOBA also goes down. So if you're a hitter and want to try to find the most success, you would likely try and make your swing within the 10 to 25 degrees, because then you will get the most amount of line drives, and corresponding with that will have a higher average WOBA. Now let's get back to Christian Yelich and see how his stats correlate with his launch angle. Now let's first look at his 2019 season, which was by far the best season of his career. In this season, Christian Yelich in 489 at-bats had a .329 batting average, which was second in the MLB. He had 44 home runs, which was sixth in the MLB. He had a .671 slugging percentage, which was first in the MLB. A .110 OPS, which was first in the MLB. A 7.3 offensive WAR, which was fourth in the MLB. A 4.429 on-base percentage, which was second in the MLB, so he was getting on base more than anybody in the MLB except one person. And then the big one of them all, he had a .442 WOBA, which was first in the MLB. So he was getting on base pretty much more than anybody in the MLB and was doing it productively with the highest WOBA. In this season, Christian Yelich had an 11.3 degree launch angle, which fits perfectly in the 10 to 25 degree launch angle threshold. Christian Yelich's 11.3 degree launch angle gave him the perfect swing path to put up these numbers. Christian Yelich was hitting less ground balls this season, with a 42.8% of his contacts being ground balls, and he was also striking out a lot less, with only having a 20.3% strikeout rate. Yelich's bat was staying through the zone longer, so he was making contact, and when he was making contact, he was hitting the ball hard and in the air. Now, let's look at 2020, where the downfall of Christian Yelich began. In this season, in 200 at-bats, Christian Yelich had a .205 batting average, 12 home runs, a slugging percentage of .430, an OPS of .786, a WOBA of .343, a WAR of .7, and in this season, his launch angle was 7.1 degrees, so about 4 degrees less than the season before, where he had the best year of his career. Christian Yelich's launch angle no longer met the threshold of 10 to 25 degrees, which correlates to the most success. In this year, Christian Yelich's launch angle was just producing more ground balls. He had 51.6% of his contacts result in ground balls, and he was also striking out a lot more with a 30.8% strikeout rate. Many people thought that this was just a weird year for Christian Yelich and he would bounce back in 2021. However, Christian Yelich was just as bad in 2021. In 2021, in 399 at-bats, Christian Yelich had a .248 batting average, 9 home runs, a .373 slugging percentage, an OPS of .736, a WOBA of .337, a WAR of 1.5, and he did this all with a launch angle of 2.8. So this year, Christian Yelich lowered his launch angle even more. We saw that in 2020 when he lowered his launch angle, his numbers declined, and then we see him lower it even more the following season, and his numbers remain just as bad or even worse. This year, Christian Yelich hit significantly more ground balls, with a 55% of his contacts being ground balls, and he also still struck out a lot more than he was used to, striking out 23.8% of the time. In this season, Christian Yelich was just grounding out or striking out. He had almost no power. He went from a guy who hit 44 home runs to now 9 home runs in almost a full season. This year was a huge decline for Christian Yelich, and it showed that his launch angle was affecting the way he played. It is hard to pinpoint just one reason for why Christian Yelich's launch angle has declined so much and he is hitting significantly more ground balls. Mechanically, there is a lot of issues though. First of all, he is rolling over almost all of the time now, which means his hands are following through before the rest of his body, resulting in him to launch the ball straight into the ground. He also is not extending as much and getting jammed. As you can see in a few of these swings, Christian Yelich is hitting the ball on the inside part of the bat because he's not extending his arms fully through the zone. Also, Christian Yelich now has a higher leg kick, which I think is just bad for his timing. In 2019, his leg kick was a lot quicker and his timing seemed pretty much perfect the whole year. Now he has a high leg kick where he's getting early a lot more, and that can also be part of the reason for why he's rolling over on the ball so much. If Christian Yelich can fix these mechanical problems and improve his launch angle back to the 10 to 25 degree threshold, then I believe he can return to his former self. Thank you all for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this analytical project and want to see more, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching Analytics with Chris. Have a great day.